Welcome to Tebra Talks, the podcast for people keeping independent healthcare thriving. I'm Samantha Bergquist, Product Marketing Manager at Tebra. And on this show, we talk candidly about the realities of running a practice, what's changing, what's working, and how real people are navigating it while also keeping their doors open. This show is brought to you by Tebra, shaped by the people who are running the business of care, because what happens behind the scenes matters just as much as what happens in the exam room. Today, I'm really excited that we're going beyond the campaign. We're shining a light on the people and processes behind Tebra's practice marketing professional services team, from SEO blogs to social media to paid ads and premium SEO, and really the strategy that ties it all together. We're also breaking down what it means for you as a practice. And so unlike local agencies, doing it yourself, or in-house staff, what makes Tebra different is who stands behind every campaign. There are real specialists and strategists who work with practices to reach the right patients and grow with purpose. Joining me today are Kirby Kushner, Valerie Cook, and Maya Raymond, three leaders behind the programs that help practices be found, chosen, and trusted online. Welcome all to Tebra Talks.
Hello.
Hi.
Before we dive in, I'd love for each of you to just do a quick intro about yourself and share a bit about your role and your expertise at Tebra.
Hi, I'm Kirby Kushner. I'm the Director of Professional Services at Tebra. My team leads the strategic vision behind our professional services, ensuring every action aligns with a practice's business goals and long-term growth.
I'm Valerie Cook, Senior Manager of Customer Content and Design. I oversee our creative and content strategy, helping practices tell their story in ways that connect authentically with patients while also helping to boost their online visibility.
And I'm Maya Raymond. I'm the team lead for our shared services. My team manages the day-to-day execution of our services with practices, making sure every strategy is implemented smoothly and measured for impact.
Fantastic. Thank you, ladies, for all introducing yourself. So let's start by unpacking why marketing can be so challenging for independent practices and really where the right partnership can make all the difference. So Kirby, let's start with you. What are the biggest hurdles that you see practices face when trying to manage marketing on their own?
There's a lot, but I think the biggest challenges that practices face when trying to do it all on their own really boil down to the value of time. So whether they're trying to directly do it on their own and, thus need to take the time to learn the nuances of marketing, or they're seeking out various tools or software, hiring agencies or in-office staff to help, this all takes valuable time away from what matters most, which is providing care to patients. At Tebra, we pride ourselves in being marketing experts who also understand healthcare. This allows practices to focus on their expertise, providing care to patients. We're not an agency, we're an extension of the practice team. With Tebra on their side, practices have access to a team of Google advertising, social media, blogging, and SEO specialists who are all healthcare experts. It's all we do day in and day out.
I love that you shared that, Kirby. I mean, it's such a good distinction, not just outsourcing marketing, but partnering with specialists who really understand your goals and your patients from the practice's perspective. And, so if that's a challenge, limited time, limited expertise, and the need for strategy, let's talk as a group, how your teams actually solve for that in practice. So Maya, I'll jump over to you. Could you walk us through what happens after a practice signs up with Tebra? How does your team get to know their goals and build a plan that actually works?
So this part of the process is super vital to a customer's journey because this is where we really get into the meat and potatoes of everything. So once a customer purchases a service with us, one of our digital marketing specialists will schedule a call with the practice in order to align with their goals and offer expert guidance. This is a time where we really get to know the practice and their goals and understand their brand. In addition, this is where we also gain access to any platforms or anything else we'll need to utilize during their time with us. And so once the customer has been with us for about 3 to 4 months, then we really start to get into performance, right? So performance reviews are very vital with a customer in order to rediscuss their goals and if anything has changed in their office or services or anything else they'd like to inform us about. And during this time, we, offer ways we can adjust budget, SEO keywords, direction, in addition to really honing in on its value. So in order to have a thriving and successful partnership with customers, responsiveness and communication is super key. Quarterly performance reviews, productive kickoff calls, they really set up a customer for success with the seamless and fluid relationship between listening to a customer's goals, but also implementing our expert strategies from the team here at Tebra.
I love how you kind of started us at the top of, kicking off that relationship to begin with. You got to make sure that you're moving in the same strategic direction, whether that's finding the right types of patients who are looking for a certain service or for certain specialties. And then also then taking it one step further, aligning it with the practice's total goals, whether that's, with our patient experience product, with, general marketing motions that they're doing. So you're kind of taking it to a wider lens, so to say. And then I also loved how you're like, we start this way, but we continue. And like, this is how we do it. We have those quarterly performance reviews. We're constantly tinkering. And I think, for me on the marketing side, I hear a lot about practices who, not only lack the expertise, but they need also a partner to hold them accountable, right? And like, it's one thing to get started with marketing and to do it once, but it's another to hold yourself to metrics, being like, am I improving? Am I getting what I want? And I think I love how you just broke down really like that consistency and how that true partnership is required to really accelerate the practice's growth.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, so insightful, Maya, especially given that you and your team are, day in, day out working with those customers. Let's take it kind of to the other side with Valerie. So, we talked about that foundation being set. So how does your team bring this story to life through the content that you're producing and all the work on the back?
Yeah, so that's kind of where our creative strategy comes into play. Our writing team creates content that, first and foremost, is designed to perform, meaning it helps patients find a practice, understand their services, and feel confident booking care with that practice. So every blog post that we produce is crafted to reflect each practice's unique approach to care and really highlight the services that they're offering. We create content that's helpful, informative. It's designed primarily to answer common questions that patients are actually searching for when they open up Google, type in a question, they'll find our blog posts and answer those questions. This approach supports SEO, but it also helps to build trust between the provider and the prospective patient. And also it helps position a provider as a thought leader in their field. So when a patient is looking for answers, they see someone that is ready to speak on their issue and provide care. Primary goal of our blog service is turning expertise into patient engagement and discoverability in search, and ultimately driving patient appointments. And then Maya touched on this like a little bit, but what's really cool about our service is how comprehensive it is. Our blog content team works super closely with Maya's team to ensure that creative decisions that we're making tie directly into performance goals of the practice. So as a practice grows with our service, they add new technology or offerings, maybe they shift focus, we adjust our content to keep things aligned with their current goals in real time.
Thanks, Valerie, for sharing that. Super insightful and like the how of everything. Because I think, when we hear SEO blog or we hear about social media, we think, oh, there's like this one person who spends 30 seconds doing this one thing. When in actuality, there's a lot of strategy behind it, whether it's, the keywords, the questions, the topics, and making sure they're relevant, not only for patients in the market out there, but also for practices and what their goals are. And really what stands out to me is that depth of collaboration that you all have talked about. It's not just set it and forget it. It's the ongoing partnership, both within Tebra, but also with practices. And that's where experts are really thinking about practices growth every day when practices don't have the time to do that, right? And Kirby mentioned their primary focus is patient care. And that's, I think, a huge leverage point that all of you and your teams bring is have someone do it for you, but have them do it thoughtfully, strategically, and actually measure outcomes to really hold yourself accountable. So I love all that. Kirby, bringing it back to you, you've been at Tebra for quite a while, I think longer than me, and I just passed 8 years. But you've led a diverse team in your many years at Tebra. What makes this group so unique in delivering these services to customers?
Yeah, I'm about to hit 9 years. It's been a
Wow.
long
Wow.
time. Very, very fun time, of course. But really, our Tebra team truly is one of our biggest strengths. I feel like we are very unique in that many of us personally have close ties to the healthcare industry, whether we're family members with doctors or former healthcare workers. And of course, all of us have been patients at one point or another. Due to this, we've all developed a deep empathy for providers and a passion for improving the patient experience. All of this leads to a very specialized team that's dialed in to the challenges faced by providers. We understand the business of care in a way other generic agencies never could.
I love that. And I think the personal ties exactly for anyone who's ever seen any other Tebra Talks or webinars, I'm always talking about how my family members are in private practice and it's a woe in my personal life, but also professional. And so I know all of you have, very similar intimate stories like that as well. I think what really came across to me, as we've been talking, you've all been talking about expertise and like really leveraging, that to benefit our customers. And I think Valerie, you mentioned something earlier that I kind of want to dive a little bit deeper in on the creative side and just consistency at scale. But you mentioned trust too, and how trust is so integral, not only in, customers trusting us with their business, but also making sure that we're equipping practices to create the foundation for trust with patients, whether they're existing or returning or new patients. So I would love for you to dive a little more into the technicals of like how your team maintains that creativity and consistency at scale and how that ultimately kind of delivers that trust.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a big key to maintaining trust with patients and the practices that we're representing is making sure that we're informed of their current goals and making sure that we're aligned with the practice so that the content we're producing, the services we're providing really showcase what it is that they're going after in that moment. What's cool about our internal workflows is that it's super easy for us across teams to stay informed about a practice's dynamic goals because their goals can shift year to year, season to season, or even month to month. Account managers will share insights with Maya's team after a growth strategy call, and then we all work together to make sure that our service output aligns with those goals. So, for example, in our blog service, we rely a lot on our shared editorial calendars that everybody has visibility and access to, from the customer to the digital marketing specialist, account managers, all the way down to our writing team. So we're all on the same page at any time. Anytime something little shifts, we're made aware and we have this one place where we can go and look and see what the current focus should be. And then also on the other side, our teams stay up to date on current healthcare trends. So we know what's new hot topics that we should be writing about and we can dynamically shift to make sure that we're staying relevant in the field. And again, touching on we want to help providers be thought leaders in their fields. They need to be in the forefront of new topics that come up. And then we also stay informed about new trends in SEO or GEO with the rise of AI overview and AI search. This helps us stay up to date with how we're structuring our content and really keep us with our editorial calendars. It keeps us creative, collaborative without losing consistency.
I love that. And I know, like, I'm curious, Maya, you have any examples given that your team kind of works with customers? Like, let's take it further.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say, like piggybacking on Val and the cohesiveness of our teams, I have a great example on how we implement that. And so we work with a big primary care and cardiology practice out in Massachusetts. So they have all of our services with us. Like I think they have about like 5 blog packages with us as well, Val. So they're pretty big. And so their strategy is pretty detailed, pretty robust. And one of our specialists works closely with them to ensure that their goals are constantly progressing. And so here's an example of how we kind of deep dive into their strategy. And so, in order to improve their Google Ads traffic, our team initially requested that we target around like a 20-mile radius around their location where their office is. Despite that solid budget they had, their campaigns weren't converting efficiently, wasn't really seeing that ROI. So, after several months of performance analysis, our specialists also worked with our backend team, search engine marketing team, and they presented data showing which areas were driving high quality leads versus those that weren't. And so, we recommended narrowing that geo-targeting to focus only on top performing areas, right? Explaining that this would drive better quality leads, higher ROI, and more consistent campaign data. And so we did end up implementing that strategy. And following these optimizations, the project saw a significant increase in conversions, an influx of new patients from paid campaigns for their Google ads, which was amazing. In addition to this, we then implemented this strategy across all of their services. So to their PSEO, to their social, to their blogging. And so this also improved their SEO authority and local visibility. And so overall, the strategy was a huge success, leaving the practice happier, but also seeing the value of a digital marketing specialist expertise here. So it was a big win.
That's an awesome share. Thanks so much, Maya. And I mean, it really speaks to, the clear results that come from people, not just a platform or a product. Yes, platforms and products can be great, but it's often how we're deploying it, the strategy behind it, and really the thought leadership coming specifically, from our Tebra teams here. And so every campaign is truly powered by both care and craft. So that's an awesome story. Loved hearing that. And then kind of to round us out, we're talking about now what we do now. Kirby, I'm curious, as patient expectations evolve, digital competition grows. I know we've already talked about, Valerie mentioned AI, becoming a topic. What's next for professional services at Tebra?
Yeah, I'm really excited about the future of pro services here at Tebra. What really sets us apart, like I've said earlier, besides being marketing experts with a deep understanding of healthcare, we really are a one-stop shop here for practices. So when practices opt into the various Tebra offerings, it unlocks an ecosystem of sub-teams handling scheduling, EHR, billing, websites, and our professional services team, all in close communication with each other, working together to help practices succeed. In order for our team to remain at the top of our game amongst competition, we are committed to staying ahead of the latest technologies. As we all know, AI is a hot button and somewhat polarizing topic, sometimes scary for people, but it's one we're actually embracing. We're leveraging AI technology to minimize human errors, craft more diverse strategies, and even provide a robust post library for providers to leverage to self-serve as part of our social media offering. So, making things better than they were in the past. At the end of the day, though, our team is our biggest strength. AI helps us scale, but the people keep it personal.
It's the balance between the people and the technology, and that brings us to the future. It's more efficient, yet deeply human. Love that. Thank you for sharing. And with that, I think that takes us the end of today's chat. Kirby, Valerie, Maya, thank you so much for taking us behind the curtain of what makes Tebra's professional services truly effective, both for practices who are looking to grow, but also just maximizing engagement and online discoverability. And if there's one takeaway for listeners, it's that real results don't come from one-off tactics. They don't come from you just set it and forget it. They come from people who understand the industry, your practice, your patients, your goals, and are really partnering with you as if their success is also your own. And with that, this has been Tebra Talks. Thanks for listening. And to learn more about how our teams help independent practices grow, visit tebra.com or follow us on social. Thanks all.